Hey guys, welcome to the talk show, Future of AI in Business. This is a talk show where I talk to leaders across business, in data science, and understand from them how AI is being embraced in businesses, real use cases. Today we are talking to Rohit Ramesh. He's a serial entrepreneur and currently he's the founder of Segmind, amazing startup in the ML ops space. Welcome to the show, Rohit, and would love to hear from you on your journey. I know you have been one of the earliest adopters of cloud. I think 10, 12 years back when AWS was in its infancy. And from there, transition to DevOps and now in the MLOps space. Welcome again, and would love to understand your journey.
Thanks, Vivek. Happy to be here. Excited to speak to you. Yeah, as you told, I kind of signed up to AWS in 2011. I took up the first EC2 server and saw what was happening in the cloud. And then, yeah, happened to kind of be in that space and learn the developments that are happening over the next, 4-5 years. And then happened to kind of come to MLAI space, and with this knowledge of cloud as well in the background, I saw that there's a lot more that we can do in data science space, and that's what led me to kind of start with Segmind. We found good founders, found good co-founders in very similar space, and kind of the whole ML growing, over the last couple of years, kind of gave us some tailwinds to develop this product and this platform.
Awesome. Can you talk about what Segmind does, and like the value prop, and think of it as an elevator pitch, right? So we'd love to know more about Segmind.
Sure. So, the problem that we're trying to tackle is, effectively use cloud for ML development. And when I say ML, primarily on the deep learning side, slightly heavier models, computer vision, NLP, speech, which are more challenging. Although cloud gives us almost unlimited potential in terms of servers, in terms of storage, etc., compute and storage, I think there's a lot of complexity that comes along with cloud. And also, if you don't manage it well, you're going to run into a couple of tens of thousands of dollars of bill. So this is a problem that not only me, I kind of spoke to a lot many people, and all of us were facing, as to how do we automate the infrastructure, either on Amazon or GCP or any of these cloud providers, to develop your whole ML model, right from cleansing the data to pre-processing to training to making sure that the model that comes out is actually reliable enough to be deployed. So in a nutshell, I think MLOps is a very broad term. What we are trying to do here in a specific sense is automate infra or infra ops, and for us, infra is cloud for now. So that's what we kind of intend to do over the next couple of years. Once infra gets optimized and automated, the idea is to kind of automate the workflows above this infra, right from unit testing, which still doesn't exist for deep learning, but we've heard unit testing for web apps and mobile apps so often. So things like that will be needed in ML sense, and automate those workflows as well. So that's a kind of a vision that we have for Segmind right now.
Very cool. And I guess, this is the right time, right? So far, I would say, compared to the software engineering world, AI and the development of models is stuck in those stages, right? Where, you wouldn't believe, even some of the large organizations, people, don't even have version controls of models, right? For example, I mean, it's that it's stuck. So, but I guess this is the right time. This decade will be all about AI eating the world for breakfast, right? Like just like how software did. So, which means Segmind will play a very important role for the organizations to manage their workflows. Very cool, right. Very cool, and all the best. I'm sure you guys will hit it out of the park. Great, awesome. Um, Coming back to your journey, right? Um, like you've been associated, you've been seeing, the evolution of data science from the outside. Um, so, would you, like, top of your mind, what are those top one, two, some of the most exciting data science problems that you've been associated with, either with Segmind, you've seen some of the customers solve, or outside. We'd love to know those top one, two data science use cases, problems, real world problems being solved.
Sure. Uh, kind of, I'm biased towards computer vision. I've been working mostly in computer vision space. In fact, the first problem that I got in 2016-17 was we've got a bunch of images from drone from a thermal camera, and it was a radiometric thermal camera. So every pixel contained the temperature in Celsius or Fahrenheit. And what we had to do was develop a model that could detect different kinds of issues and problems with these panels, and not just individual panels. Sometimes the pattern is across a string of panels. It's 10 or 20 panels put together. So we found around 6 or 7 different patterns that we saw. Some of them related to short circuiting, some of them related to reverse polarity, and this is in solar plants, large scale solar plants.
Right.
So we developed a model that would automatically kind of detect the kind of issue, geolocate it, and tell, hey, this panel or this string, has a reverse polarity. And that made life very simple for maintenance operators of large scale solar plants. And that also kind of made me think, hey, I think there's a lot of value in ML. This could have taken a couple of days or even weeks if a human did it. ML took like a few minutes, if not an hour or so. So that was my first introduction to deep learning ML. It took us 6-7 months to build that model. But nevertheless, I think we then ended up deploying it all over India and across the world in different plants. That being said, yeah.
Sure.
That being said, I've then worked on multiple, remote sensing based solutions from then, since I developed some kind of understanding of the geospatial space, be it drones or satellite. The data coming in is in very similar format. So after that, I've worked on very interesting projects, including forest, conservation project, where we are taking satellite data, detecting the number of trees every 10 days, 15 days, and making sure that there's a real-time alert going to an authority if certain trees or certain plants have been cut. Except that there's also building detection, footprint detection, where we worked with one of the municipalities of Indian cities to give them a real-time update as to where are new buildings coming up, what are commercial buildings versus residential buildings. Interesting problems. I played some part in most of these pipelines, and in general kind of very excited about remote sensing for AI, since I am coming from there. My co-founder comes from medical AI background, and I've happened to work with him in cancer research, histopathology. I'm also excited in that space because I think there's a direct impact to human life, to saving lives. And if you can detect if you some kind of disease early on, I think you can extend someone's life by 10-15 years. And I think that's also very impactful. So yeah, these kind of applications kind of drove me into being in ML space and developing something for this space.
Right. That's very, very, very interesting. Awesome. And now on the other end of the spectrum, right? What frustrates you the most? When you look at the ML and the journey, right? Not just probably focusing on the models part of it, right? Like ML, probably building the model is a very small part of it, of this entire life cycle. But across, right, from data, I mean, even before that, understanding the business problem, right, and getting the right data, building the right models, and then the entire journey all the way to deploying them right in production. What are some of the, like, what really frustrates you when you see when you talk to customers, some of the customers of Segmind, or even outside? Would love to know what's happening out there that shouldn't be, right? That's really frustrating. That should be fixed.
I think the biggest thing that usually I've seen in the whole pipeline is, where do I get started with my training sessions? So sometimes I have my data ready. I probably know that I want to use certain algorithm, let's say YOLO or RetinaNet for object detection, or certain, you already have all these, pieces put together, but we've usually hit a roadblock as to, where do I get started with training? Because data is stored in certain place, compute kind of, compute is available on some cloud or on local. Then you ask the data scientist to make sure that you log everything, you containerize everything, you follow the best practices of DevOps and ML. It's a very frustrating thing as an ML engineer, to learn everything from Kubernetes to MLflow to TensorFlow to PyTorch to 100 other libraries, which humanly it's not possible, right? And that's what kind of frustrated me initially, because I mean, how would a data scientist who's supposed to develop models and understand more of maths and analytics and science now have to deal with all this pull and push of containers to Kubernetes orchestration to scaling up stuff? So pretty much that is the DNA for Segmind as well. If you see, we're trying to optimize and simplify that part of developer or ML developers life cycle. So that's pretty much the most frustrating part as far as I see. Everything is siloed. There are a lot of patchworks coming in. MLflow is trying to say, I'll patch up this side. Kubeflow is coming in and saying, I'll patch up this side. But there's no, one single solution where I can just say, hey, give me a notebook or give me an instance. Let me get started with my work. Data is already there of ideal scenario, right? So make it stupid simple for ML engineers to get started. And I think that, yes, I think that will accelerate generally, all ML use cases, because then, I mean, you can just get started. It's like when I wanted to create the first web app, I just went to GitLab or GitHub. I say, create a new repository, and just get started with it. So I feel something like that is very much needed for ML space. And that's what frustrates me a lot today. Hopefully we'll solve this in the next couple of years. Yeah.
Segmind is playing a very, very important role in accelerating this, right? It's I think very critical, and especially as the now business wants it now, and it's probably more than ever before. Business is relying on data science for taking some of the very important decisions. So it's extremely critical that, like you said, dumb this down. Right, like for data scientists and engineers to be able to kind of focus on their work and have everything else taken care of. Absolutely.
Right.
Awesome. Now, kind of probably zooming out a bit, right? Like over the last 10, 15 years, right, from your DevOps days all the way to Segmind now. What are the learnings, right, in your career? It could be technology focused, management, people. Would love to know some of the top learnings that you've had in your career.
Sure. I mean, I don't carry so much experience, but with whatever experience I have, I think one of the most important things is to adapt to newer technologies, especially in this last 15, 20 years. Things change every 3 to 5 years. And there's a major change. I mean, literally everything is discarded, whatever we have done, and completely new stuff gets started on. So I think it's very important to, keep you up to date with what's relevant, what's happening today. And it's okay to kind of unlearn stuff and relearn stuff. So I think that's one of the biggest learnings I've kind of had. I had to unlearn a lot of things that I learned in the last 5-10 years. And then I started with PHP coding, with Laravel and all these frameworks initially to begin with. I was using jQuery with JavaScript back then. Not sure if it still exists, but I think it plays a smaller role today. So newer frameworks like Vue and React have come in front end. So I think it's very important to keep learning. That's I think what keeps me going. Keeps me excited. Once I got introduced to deep learning, started understanding what neural networks is, different kinds of neural network, convolutional, recurrent, etc. Of course, not at very deep level, but at least being in touch with what these each models or each methods can do for you is something that kind of led our team also to develop whatever we are doing today. So bottom line is, I think keep learning, adapt to the new world. Every 5-10 years I think the rate of change is also going to be faster now. So right. So yeah, move fast in this world.
Absolutely. No, that's very important.
Right.
Cool. Now, again, kind of zooming in on data science. Probably what are those like recent happenings, right? I know this is taking a cue from what you just said. That probably the change has been fastest in the last couple of years, and it's only going to go exponential, right? Thanks to accelerating hardware, technologies coming in hardware, data science, right? So last couple years, months, have you come across any happenings in data science that have really probably blown your mind away? I'd love to know.
There are a few things. I think a lot of things have blown my mind over the last couple of years. To begin with, initially we had created a library called CRAL, CNN Research Abstraction Library. It was called CRAL. So initially, you had very different methods to create vision models, NLP models, speech models using neural networks. And today, transformers, I think, is a big change that's coming in, trying to kind of integrate all these approaches to speech, vision, NLP, everything into one single method of solving with their attention modules, etc. coming in. I think that's a big change. That's a breakthrough for us. I think it's going to simplify creating models as well. Of course, I was also excited about NAS and AutoML, but AutoML kind of just didn't really give us what would be required. NAS or network architectural search is still exciting because I think it will develop the best network for you. But I think transformer in general, I want to learn more about it, and I've been really excited. I just saw DALI post come out. Just write some line and then you have a photo for it. Incredible that was.
Right. It was like last 1 week has been like incredible, right? Like I mean, you could just talk to it and it could give you images that create images, it understands, and then does this amazing.
Couple of friends in blockchain space, I was just telling to them that I think NFTs are also going to be automated now. You tell me what to create and then you just write a couple of lines and then you have your own NFT. So that's pretty exciting, primarily from deep learning point of view. Except that I think another exciting thing that I see is compute itself is kind of being democratized. You can now buy a supercomputer, literally put it in your office and get access to insane amount of compute speed. There's also a lot of ASICs coming in, very specific chips made for training. So I think that's also an exciting space. Of course, we need a little bit of understanding as to how there needs to be a common ground as to what kind of ASICs can we use for TensorFlow, PyTorch, and those kind of trainings. But I think that's also going to give us 10x, 20x, speed up on training sessions. These two are, pretty much the hot things that I keep following. Except that there are a bunch of frameworks that kind of we've been following. Dask, for example, Dask has been a game changer for using NumPy, SciPy, or libraries that we already use and just spread them over like 50 nodes and get your answer within a few seconds. Especially if you're trying to do very large scale compute or time dependent compute in finance or something that requires you to kind of do things faster. I think Dask is also very exciting. So a couple of things, these are a couple of things that I've been excited and following.
That's really cool. Awesome. I think it was great chatting with you. As we come to the end of this series, one last question. In fact, two questions. So one, where do you see yourself evolving? And the second one, how do you see Segmind scaling in the next couple of years?
So where I would like to be probably is, be working with as many data science teams as possible, be in touch with the cutting edge that's happening, be it medical AI, be it defense, be it remote sensing. Just excited to be in touch with them, enable these teams to kind of create the next set of applications that will disrupt their industries, and to get a ringside seat for all of these industries, I think is a very nice place to be, and that's where I want to be over the next couple of years. As far as Segmind's concerned, we will try and optimize cloud and make it super simple for anyone and everyone to use as we grow. Ideally, we want to be as simple as GitHub, where people can just sign up, create their account, get access to basic frameworks, and and get started with learning these data science and machine learning and stuff, to helping you productionize on your enterprise side of things. Right from learning to deployment and productionizing is what we would like to simplify, and in a nutshell, enable AI in a real sense, where thousands of models can be created and deployed. Very common to hear that 80% of the models don't make it to production, right? So whatever that number is, I hope to get we hope to get that down and say, hey, more number of models can be productionized now reliably.
Oh, that's super, super cool. Awesome. It was great chatting with you. All the very best for your career and Segmind. A lot of potential, and I think you guys are doing some amazing job. Awesome. Thanks so much.